A few weeks ago, Yugi rescued an injured wild duck. He brought it home, cared for it, and nursed it back to health. But in just a matter of days, Yugi fell in love with this beautiful creature. That bond made it hard for him to let the duck go, so he kept it close a little longer. Still, Yugi knew that holding on would only cause the duck pain, so with a heavy heart, he set it free. The wild duck spread its wings and flew back into its own world. About a week later, Yugi heard a strange call echoing from the forest. Curious, he rushed over and hid quietly behind the trees. To his surprise, it wasn't just any duck. It was his duck, the one he had saved and loved. The duck's calls soon brought its mate flying in. The two reunited joyfully, swimming together, diving in the water, and moving in perfect harmony. From then on, Yugi found himself returning to the forest every day just to catch a glimpse of them. He would sit and watch as they searched for food, splashed around in the water, and at sunset, perched together high in the trees. Days later, Yugi noticed the female duck poking around inside the hollows of a tree. Soon after, both ducks disappeared. For nearly a week, Yugi searched desperately, but there was no sign of them. Then one day, he spotted the female duck rushing into a hollow, almost frantically twisting her body to squeeze inside, while the male stood guard on a nearby tree, keeping watch. At first, Yugi was puzzled, but then it hit him. The ducks had built their nest inside the tree. Taking the chance while they were away, Yugi carefully placed a small camera near their nest. From that day on, he closely followed their lives. Within days, the ducks gathered twigs and straw, preparing their nest for eggs. Before laying, the pair spent their days together, sometimes swimming, sometimes flying tree to tree, always side by side. But when the time finally came, the female duck settled onto her eggs, and the male duck was left alone, waiting faithfully nearby. Day after day, the male duck stood guard near their nest, watching over his mate. Only once a day would the pair fly together to the water to feed. In time, the mother duck began laying her eggs. But life in the wild is never easy. Whenever the male was away, other creatures, squirrels, owls, even a mischievous raccoon would try to sneak into their nest. Still, the mother duck never gave up. She laid several eggs, and whenever she left to feed, the father would slip inside to guard them. For nearly a full month, 28 to 30 long days, the devoted mother sat on her clutch, and finally, the eggs began to hatch. Tiny ducklings broke free, their soft down glistening in the light. Now the real work began. The mother duck ventured out several times a day to find food for her babies. Even though squeezing through the tiny tree hollow was difficult, nothing could stop her from caring for her young. Within just 5 or 6 days, the ducklings faced their first true test of survival. The mother duck emerged from the nest, carefully scanning the forest floor. Then she called out with a strange rhythmic cry. One by one, the tiny ducklings leapt from the high nest, tumbling down through the air to the ground below. It was terrifying, so small, so fragile, yet they had no choice but to jump. For nearly half an hour, the mother coaxed them down until almost all had made it. But the smallest duckling struggled. Again and again it tried, wings flapping helplessly, yet it failed each time. Exhausted, the little one lay weak inside the nest, while the mother, torn between her young, eventually gathered the others and led them away. She walked nearly half a mile to the water, her other ducklings following, leaving the weakest one behind. While the others swam happily with her, the tiny duckling collapsed alone and sick inside the hollow. Hours later, Yugi, watching through his hidden camera, saw the little one suffering. He rushed to the nest, scooped it up, and carried it home. There, Yugi cared for the fragile duckling as if it were his own child. With warmth, food, and love, the tiny bird slowly regained strength. By the next day, Yugi had even made a miniature pond in a small basin of water and built a cozy little house out of a plastic box. Each morning, he placed the duckling in its pond, feeding it and watching it paddle with joy. In the afternoons, he took it outside for walks. Day by day, a bond grew between Yugi and the helpless little bird. But deep down, Yugi knew this was a wild duck. It could not remain trapped in his home. And so, with a heavy heart, he returned the duckling to its mother. A year later, when breeding season came again, Yugi spotted the same male duck back in the forest behind this house. This time, Yugi built them a wooden nest box with his own hands. To his amazement, the wild ducks accepted it, raising a new family inside the very home he had built for them. Once again, their eggs hatched, and just like before, the mother led her young into the world. But this time, she left not just one, but 3 little ducklings behind. And just as before, Yugi rescued them too, guiding each one back to the mother who had gone ahead.